We just saw how Uma wrote in her exercise book the line, I love Jashi very much. And Jashi was the maidservant Jashoda. But it is impossible to gauge the real nature of the little girl's feeling for Jashi from this one sentence. He who wished to write a reliable history of this matter would find a clear denial of the earlier statement just 2 pages later. The idea is very simple. The author is trying to tell us that from this one statement, I love Jashi very much, a person could not conclude that Uma loved Jashi very much, because immediately after 2 pages, on another day, she would write, I hate Jashi very much. So this girl would write whatever feelings came to her mind, whatever thoughts came to her mind without any kind of manipulation or planning. So one day she would be very happy with Jashi, so she would write, I love Jashi very much. 2 days later, she might fight with Jashoda and write, I hate Jashi very much. All these facts reveal the nature of the girl, the innocence, the open mindedness, her sensitive nature, etc., are revealed through this comment. This is not just one instance. Throughout Uma's compositions, one might note this fault of self contradiction. In her compositions, she constantly made such self contradictions. That means going against what one had earlier said. In one place, we might read, I'll never speak to Hari again. Not a boy, Hari Charan, but a girl schoolmate of Uma's called Haridasi. So the Hari about whom Uma wrote was the girl Haridasi. So on one page, she would write, I'll never speak to Hari again. But soon after that was a statement which might induce one to think that Uma had no dearer friend in all the world than Haridasi. So this shows how openly she wrote in her exercise book, considering her exercise book as her constant companion. Next year, when the little girl was 9 years old, the strains of the Shehnai could be heard one morning in the house. It was Uma's wedding day. The groom was called Pyari Mohan. He was the literary associate of Govindlal's. At the tender age of 9, she was being married away to a boy called Govindlal. Although he was not old and had received some education, his mind had remained entirely closed to new ways of thought. So from this we get to know that Lal, he was not much old, he was a young man, and he had also received some education. He was the literary associate of Govindlal. However, he was narrow-minded and clung very dearly to tradition. He did not want any change in the society. He was completely closed to new ways of thought. For this reason, he was very highly regarded by his neighbors, and Govindlal tried to follow his example, though without complete success. The traditional people in his neighborhood, the elderly people, considered Pyari Mohan a really good boy or a really good young man because he was totally against change. He was a traditionalist. He was closed to new ideas or new ways of thought. And the traditional people of the neighborhood considered him a very good young man. Govindlal always tried to follow Pyari Mohan, though he was not as successful as Pyari Mohan in becoming a traditionalist. Draped in Banarasi sari, her little face veiled. Veiled means covered with a cloth. Uma went weeping to her husband's house. Her mother told her, Listen to your mother in law, darling, attend to the household. Don't spend all your time reading and writing. Govindlal told her, Remember not to scratch letters on the walls. It's not that kind house. And for heaven's sake, don't scribble on any of Pyari Mohan's writings. So these were the pieces of advice Uma got as she was leaving her house. Her mother advised not to spend all the time reading and writing, and her brother advised her not to scribble on the walls of the husband's house or not to scribble on Pyari Mohan's writings. The little girl's heart quaked. She realized that no one would make allowances for her in the house to which she was going. She realized that the husband's house wouldn't be as pampering, as friendly as her own house. Through many reprimands, suffered many days, she would have to learn what they regarded as fault, what an offense, what an oversight. So she would have to learn from their scoldings how to behave in the husband's household. This is a direct comment at the situation of women in that society. The Shehnai was playing again that morning, but it is doubtful whether there was one person in the crowd who understood what was going on in the trembling heart of that little girl covered with ornaments in her veil and Banarasi sari. So everyone was happy, everyone was celebrating the marriage. The Shehnai, the music was playing, but not a single person in that household understood the worry, the pain, and the suffering of the little girl who was being forced to go out to her husband's house at this tender age.